welcome again. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve this district now for 7 years already. Again, I like bringing up the past already because we have a lot of people here who have been in those meetings prior to me being here. And I think this place was probably packed those days, right? Because of all of the, the malfeasance that was happening, all the egregious things that were being purchased or not purchased and thought they were purchased, and all of those things. So now I'm proud to present this to you so you can kind of see where we are, whether you agree with it or not, right? However, it's very important that you understand some of the direction that the boards that I've served under have put us through mission and strategic plan, et cetera. And one of those things is basically to, do what is best for the children and the students in Belleville and make sure that they have the same opportunities as everyone else, right? Because that's what we're about as an educational, organization. We're here, we have the most important product that anyone can make for a corporation, and those are kids, right? We're turning learners into leaders, so it's very important. So over the past year or two, and COVID has actually helped us a little bit with this because of our ability to kind of, put some capital reserve aside to increase the footprint or enhance the footprint of the district. We had the ability to do some incredible things here, or things that are on the horizon, like an indoor training facility, 2 houses for our life skills program, which we anticipate with the tuition we're picking up already will be paid off for very, very soon. Horticultural center that's happening because, who thought that could happen here, right? Only kids in rich districts, quote unquote, could have horticultural programs and get scholarships to Rutgers to help with medicine or medicinal needs and pharmaceuticals, right? Nobody thought of that here. Well, our kids deserve that, and that's why we do all those, we're doing all those things, okay? We had the opportunity, and I know it's a big topic, so we finally get a chance to talk about it here in public now as a board. We had an opportunity to discuss purchasing the Eastern College site, which is right next to the middle school. So Mr. Palladino and I were actively looking to put modulars, or we like to call them back in the old days, trailers, which aren't allowed anymore, by the way, by the Department of Education. But we were going to beg to put those on the middle school site somewhere and take away some more parking and make it look really bad, because we need at least 4 rooms of swing space, at least minimum 4 rooms. I'm going to show you some enrollment pieces here now. And yeah, preschool has a lot to do with some of those overall numbers, but I want to show you some of the site increases just since the October 15th report. I don't think you understand that. This has nothing to do with developments and all those naysayers saying, oh, this is going to do that. But I'm not naive to think that that's not going to increase our enrollment down the road, but we need to project for that. These are just increases now, post-COVID increases, that you could deny all you want, but those children are in seats. They are in seats. And once the number of once the number of students per class goes past a 25, a 26, a 28, we start getting some phone calls from parents. There's a lot of kids in this class. What do parents want in elementary school, right? They want smaller class sizes. What do we want in middle school? We want smaller class sizes. Well, you need space for that. One of the first things I did, or was charged with when I came here, was the incredible decision of a board before me to put 6th grade into the middle school. Now, that model is the best model. It really is, okay? I'll tell you that. And I'll argue with that with anybody. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade model is great. It works. But you need the space for that. When I first got here, we had kids on the floor. We had kids in the hallways in classes. It just was not optimal, so we pulled them out. Our middle school is growing. Anyone who's in the middle school can tell you, whoever went to middle school here, there's no place to really have gym outside, right? There's no place to even converse outside. There's no place to walk around outside, right? So we have the ability now to partner with the municipality in order to bond for some of these items that we talked about, and I know you all have heard about it and you've read about it on some of these Facebook blogs and other blogs and different things. So the ability to come here and talk to you about what the future looks like here in the center of town as an educational value to a district where everybody before I got here said that education was the most important thing we were lacking here, right? We still talk about it. right? How do you grow academics? Well, I'll tell you, you could argue with me all you want, but preschool is extremely important. That's number one. So preschool expansion grant. We almost missed a few opportunities with that, but we found a partner that helped us do it. Now we're almost at 90% almost of our kids, we're like 86% of our kids next year will have preschool. It's an incredible number for a town who only 7 years ago was like 6 or 7%. It's an incredible feat that you all did in supporting these boards and some of these projects. Same thing now with the middle school. The middle school now, barring that nothing else occurs over the next few months as we seal all these deals, we'll have a southern annex, okay? Also trying to expand the footprint a little bit by providing parking with the option of having obviously a field out there so we can hold physical education, we can hold events, continue to provide parking for our teachers, and then on the bottom lot have a lot for municipal value so that people can go to shops or whatever they need to do. That's that idea, and that's all that is. That didn't come to us until very late, and I was lucky that we had a partner in the president of that college who said, you know what, I really love to keep this in education. So that is a beautiful building. It also has about 12 to 14 offices on the bottom floor, which will allow us to move some offices in there that we need. So things are really looking up, very positive about stuff, even though I understand that everything comes with a cost. So that's what we're here to talk about, some of those great things tonight. So I bring this budget to the board tonight, and for everybody to talk about it, even though we did have basically an open session on it last week, these are some more fine points of everything. So every year, it's the same presentation overview. That's called transparency, just so everybody knows, right? There's no hidden things. District goals, enrollment assumptions, school level goals. Let's go back for a second. Assumptions is important, right? Assumptions is important. Because I don't think unless you're inside of Belleville, that in January of any year, the enrollment numbers are large. Kids are transferring in. It's an incredible thing. And there's a few different reasons for that, but again, people want to come here for whatever the reason would be. Special education needs and goals and costs we'll talk about, technology, facilities, revenue projections, appropriations, below adequacy spending, which is absolutely my favorite slide, administrative costs, and then the tax impact, which is probably what all you were waiting for, is that tax impact. So this is the presentation outline that we always do. And here are our district goals. Again, the board is going to be working on a new 5-year plan this year. A few months ago or so, maybe a little longer now, we partnered with school boards. So we said we wanted a new board to sit, so we'll be probably looking at that again, but working on some of those extended goals and moving forward. We obviously need to fund current employment contractual obligations, which some of them are ending this year, so we're going to be actively negotiating again. So that's something that we're preparing for. Review and restructure district personnel needs. We are continuing to add some teachers in some positions, counselor positions, et cetera, from the board direction. When I work with the personnel committee, we have an incredible new position on tonight that's really going to help the life skills kids and the autistic program that we're hoping to push out starting July 1. So all the work that we're doing in committees is really coming through. Continue to grow the district's curricular and academic programs. We're going to advance some academies, enhance STEM programs, some of the things that you've seen already with the anatomage tables and different labs I'll talk about in a couple minutes. We continue to try to enhance the AP program, further advance technology. Go back to AP for a second. We're even offering now, I probably shouldn't say this because I'm not sure if we're doing it, but Mandarin, am I right, Ms. Calhoun, or no? We're offering Mandarin, very excited about that. You wouldn't have seen that 7 years ago. And we're also offering AP classes to students to take on their own if they want to take something that we don't offer. So we're even doing that avenue. So I want to thank her for that and the high school team. And Mr. Lipo too. And continue to build option 2 programs, including the aeronautics program. We started that last year. We want to continue that. It had a little bit of a slow start, and then COVID didn't help, but a lot of students are familiar with it. The one thing I didn't put on here too is our junior ROTC program. That's I think we have over 120 kids that are interested in that. That's going to be new next year as well. The Belleville Bridge program we started last year was for learning loss. We're going to continue that this year. We were just talking about today, Ms. Shanklin and myself, with regard to when we're going to do that. So parents, be ready for that. Please take advantage of this. We didn't have enough parents in elementary school take advantage of this last year. We want to fill those rooms. We want to fill those seats in the summer with some fun, active, curricular programs. Middle school and high school have the same type of programs. We want to continue to grow that preschool universe, which is phase 3. Phase 3, which the board approved, expanding that Main Street, that Heck property for more rooms, a gymnasium, and tonight you'll see also on there is the expansion of a kitchen area to provide cafeteria and food, and a satellite kitchen, and also run our Culinary Academy program, which all of you lauded a few months ago because someone came up here and said it was such a great idea, and unfortunately that deal fell through. So now we have the ability to incorporate that, but not even paying the entire thing because it's going to be offset by food service. So what another opportunity for our kids here. Just an incredible thing. And then sustainability goals. I don't know if I'm missing something on the bottom there, but we are actively trying to make one of our schools completely off the grid, completely sustained by renewable energy, and we're doing that with wind turbines and different things like that. Just some stuff that we could also tie into curriculum because, again, environmental science is an extremely important curricular need as well, especially now in college. So here's some of our current enrollments, okay? Hornblower, just so you see it, 168 students. Sandy Lane, where we have a few classes in there as well. So pre-K our way, we basically take Sandy Lane and we partner with them. We also partner with Little Scholars, and we have some of our classrooms in there. That's the whole idea of the preschool expansion grant or aid. So we have 57 students in Sandy Lane right now, and we have 14 students in Little Scholars. These rooms and these numbers and these programs are extremely stratified, meaning that there are only certain levels of or a certain amount of kids or students you could put in a room. There has to be a certain square footage. Mr. Vargas is here, did an incredible job with all this. Certain manipulatives in rooms, certain types of furniture. Everything is very very to the point. Master teachers have to be part of it, etc. So right now the total preschool population is 406 students, which is 75%. It's called the preschool universe. It's a formula where you take your eligible first graders from the year before, etc., etc. If you want to know more about that, I can give it to you, the exact formula, but that tells us that out of all the students in Belleville, all of the kids that are 3 and 4 years old in Belleville, 75% of them now, 75% of the eligible kids are now in school. And that's right, only been going for 2 years now, 2 or 3 years. Imagine before this, we had 6 to 10% only in preschool. I mean, there's reams and reams of research that talk about, think about your own kids getting into classes, especially if some of those children are English language learners. All right, this is a very big thing for this community, and especially that we were able to make such an impact so quickly. So here's some interesting stuff. You can't see it on the bottom. I don't know why I can't get the whole slide for some reason, but the bottom, the black number is the October 15th number, and the red number is the current number, okay, meaning March 31st. That's my current enrollment. So you see how there's some differences here, right? School 3 had a 10% increase, et cetera. But here are your numbers. School 10 had a little drop-off. It could be a program change. But I have to tell you, when I first got here 7 years ago, I remember Mr. Egan and I, if you all remember, we kind of consolidated to save money. We consolidated an administrator, and we had one administrator do 2 buildings. And Senator Ruiz called me to her office, and she said, how's that possible? And we talked about the enrollment there. And I remember School 10, I think it was under 100 students maybe, or just right hovering at 100, right? That was 7 years ago. Now we're at 172 today. I mean, I don't know what else to say to everybody who's, pointing fingers. Middle school, 683. We had 700 March 31st. And that's taking the 6th grade out. 700 kids in that building with all the other, this isn't like the 80s and the 90s when I went to school. There weren't any mandates. We had one computer maybe in a room, right? There was 45 kids in a classroom, right? Remember when it was hot, everybody was by a fan, everybody was sitting by the fan, it was blowing on you, all those things. Those things are all gone, right? You need labs, everybody needs computers, we need a certain amount of square footage per student, etc. All different things now. High school 1452. And here are the assumptions. Again, these are all basically given to us. And it doesn't take into effect the growing footprint of the town as well, which is obviously going to change some of these numbers. But they're approximating 122 more students, or a 2.59% growth increase. And again, those numbers don't go by the current numbers. All the numbers that are presented to us by the state go by the ASSA number, which is the October 15th count. So on October 15th, every school gives a snapshot of its district, and that's what the state uses for everything. So that's what we're going by with some of these numbers here. We're expecting 180 additional preschool students because of the expansion. It's just an incredible thing. That'll bring us to that 86.7%, and I'm even surmising it's going to be closer to 90. All right, Mr. Palladino just got some calls today about partnering with somebody, partnering with a neighboring town that can't find space. I go, oh, I was there. I met with every possible developer, builder, owner that was willing to talk to me about it. So we have some school level goals in this budget. Expend our core mission, of course. We want to advance the academies that we started. We have a culinary academy we're talking about this year for our students, to keep some of our students that really are into culinary classes here. A public safety academy, and if you remember, right before COVID hit, we approved the leadership academy. So we're hoping to get that going again for our really top 3% of students at the middle school going into high school. The public safety academy talks about fire science and also different stuff, things with forensics. Getting students ready for maybe careers in public safety and public service. So not too many other schools in the state have that. I think we only found one other district that has that. Excuse me. Personnel needs, of course, we're always looking for that. There are a few additional positions that we've been talking about due to RTI. I said the counselor needs, supervisory needs, et cetera. Technology initiatives, obviously we always have to repair and replace Chromebooks because that's what we're doing now, we're using all that. Some of the things I talked about before, the anatomage tables, which if you were here a few meetings ago, once we get that lab set up here, we'll take all of you on a tour for that. Our outdoor facilities and footprint, educational space, etc. Beautiful pavilion outside, offset by the money that the board made profit-wise from student lunches, put it right back into the community, right? Nice outdoor space now for kids to sit and eat. We have a feasibility study that we're doing to try to get one of those pavilions at every site so kids can eat outside, enjoy the space outside, expand the footprint, expand all of our facilities, different things. We talked about the indoor training facility, et cetera. Maintain all of our existing programs. So we're very proud that we didn't have to cut anything. Why would you start something to cut it? It doesn't make any sense. And then social emotional wellness program. I know there's people that are kind of, up and down about that, but it is true. I predicted it 2 years ago, and we have students that are having a hard time transitioning back and acting in a certain way, especially now even without the masks. Even without the masks. Taking the mask off was also a different transition back to school. Kids now see each other's face differently. Maybe there's a lot of anxiety still there. And if you don't believe that, well, then you haven't talked to anybody, unfortunately. It's just you spewing rhetoric if you don't believe that. It's out there. And if you have kids, you need to sit down and talk with them because there is anxiety out there post-COVID. When students are sick, there's anxiety. When things are canceled, there's anxiety. Students don't know how to react to things, right? And I know it's easy for us as an older generation just to say, oh, come on, you can get past this, but it's not. There's a generation of students that miss chunks of time together when being socially awkward in certain stages, right, is dangerous and scary. When not having friends around you, in a time when people are dying next to you or getting sick, maybe your family's getting sick, okay? There's a lot of things happening. The war isn't helping over in Eastern Europe. There's a lot of stuff that our kids are still going through. So we have the ESSER grant puts money aside for social wellness program, social emotional wellness program. We have a supervisor position to maintain that program and certain things that we need to continue to do. Special education, I talked a little bit about it, just doing an incredible job with different, trying to save money on evaluations, et cetera, IEPs, least restricted environments. Very difficult to project special education students coming to district. You know, if a family of a special needs student comes in, I don't know if they're packing up right now, ready to come here. I don't know what that IEP says. Transportation goes along with that, okay? And everybody just thinks, just jump on a bus and get them. It's not how it works, everyone. It's not how it works. It's very difficult to just add a bus route for one student going to a school 2 towns over. It's not effective sometimes. It's not cheap, and it's not budgeted for, because right now we can't project for a whole bunch of changes like that. You know, the special education department's doing an incredible job expanding all the programs. We talked about the life skills programs. I'm happy to say that we, you know, if anybody's watching this, I do appreciate we finally got the permits for to move forward to get our autistic students and our life skills students back into those buildings. So that's a plus. I'm very happy about that. And we want to continue to take tuition students whenever we can to make some revenue. Technology goals, structural and administrative technology support, expand the department. We've done that because, you know, the more computers you put in hands of people, the more techs we need, right? The more assistance we need to make sure that everything's working. We're moving to Power School or back to Power School this year. You parents will become now even more of a part of that technology universe. There's something called Schoology. You'll be talking to teachers, getting grades, et cetera, in real time. So there's going to be a lot of training in that, so stay tuned for that. We talked about the Anatomage Lab, a new STEM lab that used to be in the Board of Education offices. Again, getting us out of there, getting administrative offices out of rooms to bring back educational space. That was the plan 7 years ago. I think everybody forgot it, though. Everybody forgot it, because every time I try to do that, someone complained. Everybody forgot it, right? So guess what? I'm reminding all of you again. The whole idea when I first got here was to get all the offices that are necessary, even though you don't want to believe that maybe, they are necessary. Take them out of the libraries, take them out of classrooms, take them out of essential laboratory areas like where my office was, and now we have a beautiful technology area where we're going to have a parent, like sort of like a genius bar for parents that are having issues or kids are having issues. They come on in, talk with one of our techs, and on the other side is a full STEM lab, which is looking great. Definitely needed for a long time, and I'm glad it's finally happening here. So we have a lot of facility goals, obviously. I don't think that's understated. Every year we want to maintain and coordinate all of these systems that you may not be aware of. Heat, ventilation, air conditioning, which is known as HVAC, electric, water, fire alarm, other safety systems. IPM is integrated pest management, okay? Lead and environmental testing. You know, we've done environmental testing before anybody else did, okay? So that's something that I just have been doing in my 25-year career. We're constantly checking for different things just to make sure our students and our faculty and staff are safe. But those are just management things. Those things we do every time we have to, and those aren't free to a school district. Electric isn't free. So when your electric bill went up this year because of the gas prices, right, or your oil or your heat or whatever it is, so did ours. All right, so all those things increase. We don't get it for free. Your water bill went up, so did ours. Okay? Maintain preventive maintenance programs, all the things that we're doing, especially the big thing now, HVAC, the HVAC systems, constantly changing the filters. All right, that adds up too because of COVID. But you know, Rich Henry and his crew does a great job. Custodians do a great job. Our district vehicle fleet, we were talking about today. We've got to maintain that. Improvement projects like outdoor spaces, the middle school annex, offices, field, and the deck, the parking deck that I talked about. Middle school auditorium, to bring back that historic look and to utilize that second floor. We have some ideas for that. Possibly a, not that I'm giving it away, but maybe we saw an auditorium that had us, because don't forget that clearance is pretty low. It's probably not even code. We saw an auditorium that has a plexiglass top for like a hockey kind of thing. That maybe we can do that so our students in our community can utilize that beautiful auditorium that's not really being utilized. Playground projects at all the schools. Okay, all the schools are getting playgrounds. Hopefully with some of the passing of some of the other stuff tonight. Municipal stadium office and storage enhancements, part of that bond, that shared service agreement. We need some space for our phys ed teachers, for storage and whatnot at the municipal stadium. You know, we go out there and we use the field all the time. We need some office space out there too. HVAC project, that's the big one, right? We took that money that we got for the air quality and we put it into air. We listened to what the parents were complaining about to us a year and a half or so ago because it was very hot with the masks on and everything. And we went forth and we have an HVAC project going where the classrooms will be air conditioned. That's starting this summer. Environmental lab is something that we were talking about. We have the opportunity possibly to build an environmental lab down on a riverbank. The board's actively looking into that, so stay tuned for that. The horticultural center is going to be behind one of the new houses right on Graylock. It's a large greenhouse, and if you remember from a few meetings ago, a while now, we partnered with Nanina's to do farm to table, where their idea is maybe have a chef come in and cook with the culinary unit by using the herbs, vegetables, et cetera, that our kids are growing. But the whole idea is to put the science and the curriculum behind it. You'll also see pretty soon, and Matt, I don't know if you have an idea on that, but we try to partner with a company, and we got some grant money for it, for lights that are run by small wind turbines. We are putting those in different parts of the district where electricity can't go and the lighting is bad. So you might see it back there. Down by School 9, there's going to be one. And that wind turbine energy, the board is actively looking into putting up a large wind turbine down on the property that we own by School 9 to make School 9 completely sustainable through the wind turbine and other panels and whatnot. Bus depot on tonight, one of the properties on tonight is to purchase 2 lots that are next to School 9, which would actively become our bus depot. Right now, if you know, all of our buses, we lease part of St. Peter's lot to put our buses down there, so it's technically renting space, about $25,000 a year. We can't really put certain equipment we need there for the buses. There's not enough space. So this would be a forever project. If we didn't do this and that lease went away, we would have to put the buses back by School 10, which Mr. Sullivan's here, he'll tell you. We have a lot of complaints from neighbors, parents. It's a very dangerous area as well. And there's really no space to put it there. So it's a perfect opportunity, and I appreciate the board's support on that as well. High school gymnasium restoration. Unfortunately, the high school gym that we kind of refinished got wiped out by the last storm. So we got some money for that to restore it. So it's got a little different look to it. We went from 2 bleachers to 1 bleacher, so we could fit more people, and it's going to look great. And that's going to be done. The whole thing will be done over the summer. The indoor training facility, obviously, phase 1 of that should be done within the next month or 2. The flooring is in, the HVAC is in, and there's several rooms of just incredible stuff going to happen in there. And I don't remember what the bottom says. What does that say? Lighting? What? Okay, lighting upgrades and electric car stations. We've also met with individuals that are trying to ask us to partner with them for electric charging stations for cars, which would be a revenue back to the district. The universal charging mounts, so we're looking at that possibility, trying to get ready for the electric car boom that's coming up. And we continue to work on changing the lighting. Our own people do it in-house, but the lighting, we had some issues with the lighting that we realized during the referendum, and we kind of said we could do it ourselves over a few years. And the the construction officials were very good with working with us on a 2-year project for that. So a lot of stuff happening. So I know I'm very long-winded. So here's the stuff you really want to see, right? Continuation of the programs, capital reserve and improvements. New buses are in there because our buses are end of life. Some of our buses are going to end of life. You can only put them on the road for a certain amount of years. The middle school expansion project we talked about ad nauseum tonight. Meeting all contractual obligations, which is the biggest part of the budget. No program cuts, we're proud of that. Expand the STEM initiative and the preschool expansion phase 3, which again puts Belleville on the map because, you know, we are definitely the model district for the PEA stuff. So we spend $81 less than the limit, than the regional limit when you do all those calculations. You know, the regional limit is $24.79. We're doing it at $23.98. That's all calculated by the Department of Education. All right? I got some really new slides coming up for you guys. It's going to really make your head spin, I think, when you see some of these. Here's our total revenue projections, and we're going to post this tonight or tomorrow, whenever we can do that when we leave here, so you can see some of these numbers. $90,308,209 is the total operating budget. Okay, your tax levy for this year is $44,539. We use a little bit of bank cap as well, so we use the rest of our bank cap because we're going to lose it this year. There's our revenue projections. We got an $8.5 million increase in aid, which we were very excited about. Mr. Palladino and I were very nervous about this. We thought we were going to go be flat. You know, so we get $8.5 million of the fair funding formula, and I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, why would we get this? But when I go a few slides down, you're going to see why. It's pretty incredible. $8 million we got, right? $8.5 million we get. Here's our appropriations. The general fund increase is about $7.99 million. Now, those are all big numbers. They sound big. I get it. But when you see how everything kind of plays out, all right, and there's all those appropriations we talked about, regular instruction, special ed instruction, other instruction. A lot of those increases are in there. Again, we talked about it at the workshop. These are whole numbers. You can't look at just bits and pieces. You got to look at the whole number of regular instruction, right? Not just some of the line items. I do have a budgeting 101 that will go by fast so you can kind of see it. So the initial proposed tax impact last week when Mr. Palladino, Mr. Egan, and I came to the board, came down to $108 if your house was assessed, not appraised, assessed at $277,600. I don't know what the assessments are in town here, but you're not at 100%, that's for sure. Okay? So if your house, if you're getting taxed on $277, the initial tax impact was $108. Okay? After that, the board met in committee, yelled at us a few times. We kind of scrubbed the data a little bit, and we decided that we wanted to cut some of the money out, so we went to the judgments line. We put some money in judgments, some extra money, because we know we have some court cases that we unfortunately have to defend. And we also know that with everything that's happening with the planning board, we don't know what's going to happen with all of our properties, et cetera, because they're not meeting. So we didn't know if the Bush Law Group was going to have to get involved. So we put some judgments in there. The board was confident that all these things would work out. They said, we're confident in our town. We're confident that these things are going to work out. I'm like, all right. So Mr. Palladino and I scrubbed that data a little bit. We cut some stuff out. And now we brought it down to $97. So we were able to cut an extra $10 off, $11 off that assessed home. So we're under 100, right? So that's how it works, right? Now, that doesn't mean now that if there are different lawsuits and stuff and we're over our judgment line by $110,000, you got to move some money around, right? So this is how it happened. So we projected we would need that. The board was confident we wouldn't, so we made the cuts, and that's how it works. So here's your number now. So your number is $97 at $277,600. So if you're assessed at $500,000, which means you probably have close to $1 million home, I would think, you're at $175. Or maybe it's 70%, 75%. So it's probably like $750,000, $800,000 appraisal if you could sell it at that. Okay. The other thing when I talk to people in Belleville as well is it's very difficult to compare your taxes to anyone else's taxes if you have a two-family house. Like if you have a two-family house and you're getting revenue, it's very difficult to compare that to what we're talking about here. We're not really talking, it doesn't matter the house that's assessed, but if you're gaining revenue and you're taxed in a different category, well, that's really not what we're talking about. If you're getting revenue to help pay towards your mortgage, that's not really a fair concern here. So when people tell me my taxes are high, the first thing I ask them is, do you have a two-family house? Oh, a three-family. Well, it's a little different. You're getting some revenue, right? So just consider that a little bit too when you're talking to your neighbors. Here's the 5-year trend. I put this in here. It's a new slide. We were talking about this a little before. So in 2018, we only had a 0.8 impact, $28. Okay, the board at the time really wanted to help the taxpayer out. We felt a major impact on that the next year, like we said we would. You go back to the tape. We said it at that meeting. Don't cut this. Don't cut this. Even the monitor. We got a lot of pressure from the finance committee. Boom, we cut it. And we had some major issues, moving some stuff around, et cetera. All right? So we kind of know where we're at. 100, 99, 75, 97, that's what we're doing. And those are on those assessed values. Look at where your assessed value was back in 2018. Big difference, almost $50,000. Okay? So again, you got to look at the trends. The absolute most important slide, besides how much you're paying in your taxes, is the below adequate spending. Okay? This is not a Belleville number. This is a state number. So after putting this budget together, the state is telling us that to be on par with a district K-12 that has about 5,000 students in it, that's the best part. It's 5,000 students. So we're just at 5,000. We're like 4,800. So it's talking to us directly at us, like pointing at us, like we're talking about you. That's what they're saying. The district is saying that in order for us to be on par with every other district, to be adequate, we need another $7.4 million in that budget. That's what the state's saying. And I'm going to finally show you kind of why. It's no one's fault. I guess it just happened over the years, but I have it in here. But that's a true definition. A true definition. There's nothing else to talk about. You got to move that up for me. Can you move that up for me a little bit? Somehow? I don't know why we can't get a whole slide on here, but. So just tell me what the first year is. Sorry. 2014-15, so right before I got here, our below adequacy was $18.9 million, and you were in a $4.7 million deficit. That's insane. That means that this budget needed $18 million just so your kids could be on par with other kids in this state. We've come up and down the valley. We're still at $7.4 million after we got the increase, after we got the aid increase. So we're doing the best we can to make up all that was lost or all that the kids in the past never got. But, we got to do it, obviously, as fiscally responsible as we can. So what I'm saying to you is $8 a month, it's not bad, and I appreciate it. $8 a month, it's like Starbucks. One day a month. Here's again, your adjusted revenue projections are at $90.1 million now. Tax levy, 44.429. All these numbers will be on there. I know they're going fast. And the fund increase now is $7,885,000. The adjusted appropriations, okay, the increase over the total general fund, about $8 million, $7 million. One of the things in there, and it doesn't look like it's a lot, but charter and special schools, we pay over $1 million to charter schools, and now special schools, which is a new category, is $50,000. Okay, everybody was talking about. Ms. Jocko brought it up with regard to some of the savings we have this year, or some of our reserve this year, not capital reserve, some of our overage this year. We put that into the tax impact. So there's about, is it $750? There's $750,000 from June 30th of 2021 that Matt and I put in here, okay, to offset the tax impact already. So we did take that money. We did do that. Okay? So just so you think it's like, so when someone gets up and says it's just floating around, it's absolutely not true. It's in there. All right, and here's my slide that I did a while ago, but I added a few fun ones for you coming up. You ready for this? So that's your dollar, right? That's your Belleville dollar, and you can't see the top there, but I guess I got to work on a technology with our Mr. Parapato. So this is what we got from the last year. We only have those tax monies. Obviously, the new year's not over yet. So most districts, the tax dollar percentages are higher for the schools. Close to 60%. Close to 60%. Okay? Now, this is not the fault of mayor and council. It's absolutely not. I say this every year. This is just the way the formula rolls out and how we've been spending it. Okay? If the boards of the past didn't increase the levy, but the township did, that's no one's fault but the people at the time. All right? And we don't even know who those people are. I couldn't even be able to kind of rip it apart and scrub it and tell you where it is. But this is the reality right now. And there's no fancy thing that you could go in and say, can we change the formula now? No, it's little by little by little, eating away. It's going to take years to switch that. Okay? But if you took $1 and you broke it up, this is what your dollar looks like. 48% of it goes to the township, 38% of it comes to the school, about 1 and about a half of 1 for other county and municipal stuff. Okay? So now kind of check that out and see what I'm talking about. And now look at this one. So we all talk about Belleville, Bloomfield, right? I love it. Those towns are incredible, just like Belleville. So I wanted to show you what their dollar looks like. Okay, this is what their dollar looks like. So here we are up there, same dollar, right? 48.3, 38.3, and 13. Let's go to Nutley. Nutley's municipal tax impact is 33%. Their schools are getting 50% of the dollar, 50%. Their school tax portion last year, from what I could find, was $279. And that might be a special assessment, I don't know. That's pretty high, so let's give them a pass on that. Ours was $75. And Bloomfield's kind of close, $83. But look at the discrepancy there. 37% for the municipality, 47%. Okay? So if you look here, I don't know if I have a little thing here. Do I have a little thingy? Okay. If you look here at the school, the two neighboring districts are spending well above their tax dollar, okay, and not as much in, I don't really know if any of them are in under adequacy, but not even close to us, that's for sure. I think it's important you see this, right? Because this is very easy to say, oh, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. Look what we're doing with less. It's an incredible thing. It's an incredible thing. That's the positive stuff. That's the positive stuff that we have to start talking about more here instead of all the negative stuff. All those positive things. So real quick, last year we did a budgeting 101 just so when you get all those numbers, you get a little confused or whatever. It's very simple. Like one of our the members of the public said, it's just really calculations. It's not a big deal. But even when I teach this to administrators, they all get nervous because of all the numbers. It's not really a big deal. It's just take a breath, right? It's very simple. That's our number, right, of an account line. So let's say it's an account line. It gives you what the number is. It gives you the difference from the year before, right? It's not really a big deal. This is where it gets interesting, okay? So for example, when we talk about teacher salaries K to 12 and then the preschool contribution from the aid into the fund, this is where the numbers start to make a little bit more sense, right? 15 full-time teachers, 12 specialists. Oh, I didn't know we had 12 specialists. Of course we have that. Who do you think teaches art? Music, gym. Oh, I didn't think about that. Right, exactly. Right? Same thing here. Grade 1 through 5 teacher salaries. 80 full-time teachers that are in the classes 1 through 5. 80. Okay? There you go. Another 12 specialists that are now paid at 72% because some of them are shared, right? We have 6 teacher coaches throughout the district, which was definitely needed here to help advance professional development, et cetera. So each one of those lines pays 33%. 3 new hires for new classrooms that we need. Okay, 6 to 8 salaries, $5.8 million, 62 teachers there, full-time, only full-time, 6 teacher coaches. We haven't even talked about substitutes yet. We haven't talked really about some of the other things that happen on a day-to-day basis. Okay, 4 new teachers there we need because of the enrollment issues that are coming up. Okay, here is high school, $9.6 million, 96 teachers. Okay, 33% for those teachers, coaches, they help out up there as well. 9 new hires for different electives. You know, if the board wants to expand some programs, we got to get people to teach it. Well, counselors, right? We wanted to add counselors, obviously. We talked about that ad nauseum again. And then there's something called 6-period salaries there. So when we have like the need to just teach like 2 periods, so we don't need a full teacher, well, the contract calls that we pay another teacher to do a special period. Those add up to about $20,000. Now, it's deserved if it's contractual, so we have to pay it. All right, and now these are also included in those budget lines. When you see those budget lines, you're like, well, it's just not making any sense. Well, you also have to add in the paraprofessional salaries, home instruction when a kid's sick at home or is on there for discipline issue, preschool staff salaries, substitutes, supplies. There's some miscellaneous things in there, which really is only $12,000. And we still, believe it or not, have textbooks. We still have some textbooks that we're using. On the agenda tonight, though, Mr. Coben got rid of a lot of them, and we gave them away to Union County. So we're trying to, recycle that to do more technology. So let's look at the breakdown. Remember that number? Well, there it is. Preschool contribution, right? Because the general fund has to contribute to the preschool aid, so we can offset some of that. Kindergarten salaries, 1 to 5 salaries, 6 to 8, 9 to 12. Miscellaneous instruction, $28 million. Now remember this line? Well, that's the increase. So the increase in instructional salaries from one line to the next, $2.8 million. It's that easy when you go into the budget, when you see it. So I know you're all going to run home tonight, look at all the numbers, and see what the differences are. So instead of getting wowed by the big numbers, look at the reasons why there's increases, look at the percent increases, and look at why. Right? Contractual agreements are a high percentage of all this. Right? If the entire district teaching staff gets 3%, well, think about it. I have to at least raise at least 3% right off the bat before we even start. The whole idea of negotiating 3 to 5 year contracts is so we can prepare and project it. Right? We got a new contract coming up. We don't know what it's going to be next year. So this is it. Right? So these are the factors that are driving those increases to the budget, though. Overall salary increases, home instruction, summer school. There's $1 million in professional development next year, okay, that we need to pay out to some of the teachers, pay back the bond. We put $1 million conservative in there. Benefits and annual PERS payment, which is pension payments, et cetera. The charter school tuition, sending kids to charter schools is about $200,000. Special ed district tuitions, new staff hires, new equipment for maintenance and IT, and then we cut that legal reserve. So the total general fund increases are those numbers. And that's basically the breakdown. Again, under adequacy, under $100 tax increase. This board has done a phenomenal job. Thank you very much working with us on this over the past few months. Everything you see tonight, even the extra, the positions that you see coming in, which are part of, Ms. Jocko and the personnel committee talking about putting in counselors and other positions for our kids. You see all that on there. All these things are important. So, progress. Thank you. Could we put the lights on, please? Thank you.